First, I disconnected the negative battery cable just to reduce any chance of sparking, and then taking off the gas cap to release any residual pressure built up in the tank. Then just checking, double checking, make sure there's no lines that could get snagged when lowering the tank. Using a 3/4 inch socket, I loosened all the mounting bracket nuts on the driver's side and then placed the car jack underneath the gas tank. Next, I used a 13/16 inch socket to loosen all the mounting bracket nuts on the opposite side, on the passenger side. And these ones I took completely off. On the driver's side, just loosen them about halfway or as far down as you can go to be able to release the tank down when you lower it. Then just slowly lower the tank down, just to be careful it doesn't bend anything on the driver's side on the mounting brackets. Once you have that lowered to the maximum that it will go down, you can reach in and disconnect the electric connector for the pump itself, and that just is done by releasing this little tab here, just pressing that down. It's kind of tough to get to just with your fingers, so I used a flathead screwdriver to depress it down, and then slides right off. Here I used a tool for disconnecting the fuel line. You can purchase it at any parts store or even on Amazon. Just a 7/8 inch, and then place it inside. Once it's inside, it can be a little tough, so I used a flathead screwdriver. You got to be careful not to strip anything in there, and then it releases. A little bit of fuel will spill out, so I just use a towel to collect that. I highly recommend spraying some type of rust solvent. In this case, I use WD-40 just to make sure those nuts are loosened up. They can get a little tight and sometimes rusted. If you break one of them, it ruins the whole tank because they're welded on. I used an 11mm socket to loosen them up. They can be tough, so you may have to loosen as far as you can, tighten it back up, and then loosen it again until the nut actually comes off. And then once that's done, wipe around the perimeter there, make sure there's no dust or debris that can potentially get in the tank prior to removing the pump. And then it just lifts right up. Just have to be careful not to, like I said, get any dust or anything inside, particles inside that tank. For a replacement, I used an aftermarket pump that I purchased on eBay for $63, and it worked fine for about 4,000 miles, and then it began to fail and it wouldn't start and it was sputtering, so I ended up replacing that one and going to the dealer and buying the original manufacturer pump, which was roughly $500. So it is a bit expensive, but it is well worth it in the end. The pump does come with a replacement ring. You can just swap that out once you pull the pump out. Once you have the ring in place, then just carefully place the new pump into position, just making sure you don't knock any dust into the tank, but it goes on fairly easy, so it's not too difficult. Next, just replace all 6 of the original nuts back onto the pump, tighten it down. Next up, just reconnect all the fuel lines, and they snap right back on, so it's again fairly easy to snap those back on. And then the electrical connector slips right into place, and that's pretty simple as well. Finally, just take the jack and move the tank back into position. I use 2 jacks here, just helping me with just maneuvering the tank. It is heavy, even if it's empty, so it does help to have an additional jack just to help kind of give yourself some balance. Once the tank is in place, you can then tighten down all the mounting bracket nuts and just go over, make sure everything is tightened up. Then just take a quick look on the top, make sure that during the process of tightening nothing loosened or became snagged in any way. Next, I turn the key to the on position to engage the fuel pump, and then crank the engine over and fire it up. Lastly, I just did a quick visual inspection of the tank underneath just to make sure there were no leaks of any kind coming from the fuel lines or onto the tank anywhere. If this video was helpful, leave a comment and like the video. I'd love to hear your thoughts and would be happy to answer any questions as well. Thanks for watching.